Yeah, literally just read it through. So I'll start with we've discussed your proposal. You've put your you've created a project. You've put the project proposal together, and we're just going to talk through it. So that's it. So that portion of the this portion of the session is now started to record, Leah.
Okay.
As we agreed. So as we say, we're going to you created a project.
Yeah.
So you've gone through that. This is going to be the project proposal and discussion. So it's you talking through your project, how it came about, what planning and organisation was involved, the different stages of the project, all of this kind of stuff. We'll also touch upon PESEL. So if you could tell us all about your project, Leah, from start to finish, and then if there's any questions at the end, we'll then cover that as well. But you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. Whilst looking up the offices for staff to collect the products in the morning, I noticed a difficulty within the business due to there only being one set of keys, meaning that the holder of the office keys had to wait until the last staff member finished to lock up. This could be a safety issue as the office might not be locked at all times, which could cause an easy break-in and loss of clients' keys and cash, and this could be a serious damage to the business. And if the holder of the key had an emergency, this could mean the offices would have to stay open until they are available to come back, which correlates to the issue of break-ins. Staff would also complain about their days ending later, as in the mornings, staff would have to wait outside until the holder of the keys would come and unlock it, meaning their day started a little bit later. Some staff members also have kids that need picking up from school, which means it's risking them being late, which will just make the staff really unhappy. This was a big issue that I noticed and decided I would put a plan together to help all of these issues. The process of planning was identifying all of the issues that were caused by having one key. I first thought about getting new sets of keys for each member of staff, but that would be costly for the business as well as a massive safety risk. I then came up with the idea of a key safe, which would allow staff to come and go as they please, which also meant the offices would be locked at all times. I then calculated the cost of both the product and the labour. I got a second opinion from people I work with, and they agreed that it would help both them and the business. After this, I shared my suggestion of a key safe with my line manager via a face-to-face meeting. I approached them with the list of issues and how a key safe would help resolve them. We then discussed the cost of the costs and the staff can lock and unlock the offices when needed, and how this would improve the safety of the office as the doors would be locked at all times, as well as being more convenient to my line manager. I took responsibility for setting a deadline for when this should be complete, which was after the Christmas holidays. I also took responsibility for a group staff meeting in which I discussed how this would improve their day-to-day work, as well as the safety of the key code and how important it is to make sure the offices are always locked. I asked if there were any questions or feedback for this plan. They said we should have a limit on how long someone works here before they know the code, which is a safety matter, which I also took into consideration and made that part of the safety plan. External stakeholders didn't need to be updated about this as it was a personal matter, and internal stakeholders such as our employees were updated when the key safe was installed. The resources for this were supplied by my manager and fitted by a professional. This was to guarantee safety and reliability. Since having the key safe, the offices are a lot safer and we are no longer relying on one person to make sure the offices are locked. This is beneficial for our line manager. As they can now focus on other areas of the business without being interrupted, and staff are a lot happy with the key safe as they have finished on time and have not complained about being late for school pickups. And in conclusion, it has worked exactly how I planned out and I am happy with the outcome. The timescale for the whole project was 3 weeks. This includes the meeting to discuss the plan to when the plan was set in place.
Excellent. Okay, well done. You managed to keep your voice throughout that, Leah. Well done. Okay, so You've covered loads of different criteria there, and actually in that very short summary of your project, we think about the kind of thing that we've done on course with regard to business fundamentals, principles of business, understanding your stakeholders, stakeholder communication. You've mentioned how you've communicated with your staff and line managers through planning and organisation meetings. You kept everybody in touch and abreast of what was happening through meetings and through discussion. You also mentioned when considering PESEL, you managed to budget. So you had to economise, and you had to budget to work with. The social, there was staff influence. With the decision making as well. Of how that would affect staff, hopefully positively. You then had technology. So you used emails and messages, so digital communication and messages and face-to-face meetings, as well as. So there was the way that technology was involved with that as well. And in terms of legal, you thought about how it's going to be, how this process is going to be compliant with your own health and safety policy. So data protection, GDPR, things like that, you would have involved within, or you would have considered as part of emailing and messaging staff. But also it had to your policy had to comply with your operational strategy as well. So what was best for everybody in streamlining the business. You reflected upon that on different stages. You've gotten feedback from staff on this is what I'm doing, this is what stage we're at, and throughout that they had the opportunity to respond. So communications throughout was really, really good. You've also then set meetings and used communication and interpersonal skills to liaise with different departments, managers, staff. You've shown planning and organisation throughout by identifying the need for a change and project management as well. So the principles of project management, and again we've discussed project life cycle before, Leah, haven't we? So the 4 stages and the Gantt chart that you use, the action by timescale from start to finish, planning each stage and what that looked like. So you're also able to demonstrate quality, accountability and agility to the needs of the business and what that meant for it as well. So overall, do you think in a really short synopsis, a really short summary of your project, that one example has contained a lot of what the kind of thing that we've worked on? For both knowledge and understanding and skills, and then behaviours within its how you've been examples of how you've been able to apply that. So that's been really, really good, and you've reflected on that, and so far that's working really well.
But it's working a lot better than it used to be.
Excellent. Staff are happy.
Very.
Which is always nice. So happy staff are productive staff. Not always, but
Well, the odd few.
Yeah, it helps, doesn't it? Okay. Is that what we looked at? Yeah, 1-to-1 project. So we've gone through that. I'm just double checking that we've done everything that we need to against the criteria there.
Okay.
As I say, you can probably use a lot of what we've spoken about for your note taking in the workbooks as well. Okay. So we've covered that. So we have a look at the criteria here. So you presented the project to me, the trainer. You presented a project of where you've worked with a remit where PESEL or SWOT have been highlighted in improvement. So we used PESEL for this. and you used reflective practice to identify what the current process was. Was it meeting the needs of the business? No, it could be improved. So you implemented a new process and went about planning and organisation for that. You researched why and how it would be effective and how it could be implemented and the potential impacts on the business. So you've gone through that with your person, with your explanation. You've got answer questions from peers or trainer. So we've gone that. So the trainer, did you get any feedback on the back of that, Leah, from staff and your line managers?
Yeah, I got the feedback from the staff, which said that there should be a certain amount of like time that you work for the business before you get the code to the key safe for safety reasons.
So you used a bit of a democratic leadership style of what we call. So you, even though it was your final decision, you basically engaged your staff and asked and actively asked for feedback using people's opinions and feedback to allow you to make a more informed decision about how to go about it, which is really nice because it makes the staff feel valuable, then makes them feel part of the process. Excellent. Right there, that is all we need for the recording. So I'm just going to pause it there.
Okay.